And then we have our marbleation. I just invented the word marbleation. This is one of my favorite cakes because it's not as fussy as a New York style cheesecake. If you're not a super confident baker, this is perfect for you because it's really easy to make. It's decadent, it's got lots of layers, and it doesn't actually require that much technique. You burn it, you put it in the oven, you take it out, and it's kind of ready to go. I'm putting my spin on it today with an addition of matcha. We have a springform pan. It has this locking mechanism. You don't have to worry about kind of like doing the knife work and prying it and all the fussy things that sometimes happens when you're baking. We're just going to spray the pan. I'm gonna have like an issei miyake pleat moment, and we're gonna press parchment into the pan. I'm gonna do 2 sheets just to make sure that there's a double layer. It creates a barrier for the cake itself. It's going to rise significantly, and so what this does is it creates an additional kind of wall and height to make sure that it doesn't spill over. And there you have, it's giving like church hat actually. It's like very like fascinator. Start by just unlocking, and this is a paddle attachment. So for ingredients, we have our classic Philadelphia cream cheese. It's at room temperature, and you want to keep it at room temperature because it's softer, it's easier to mix in with the granulated sugar. And just let it spin and do its thing for a second. The other thing that's happening as this spins is it's actually adding more heat because of its spinning. So the cream cheese and the sugar will actually loosen up a bit. As it goes, you'll see that it'll start to coat the sides more, and that's because you're actually incorporating more heat into the process. So I'm gonna turn this down and just check on our friend. So I'm not feeling any sugar. I'm going to lick my finger and then wash my hands. I'm just gonna give a little lift, scrape the sides down, and then mix it just for another 30 seconds to make sure that it's all incorporated the way I want it to be. The other cool thing about this cheesecake is there's not much in the way of overworking it. I would say, you know, with like a traditional cake, there's an attention to like how mixed or not, but for this, I feel like it's actually super forgiving. So if you go to like, you know, catch an episode of your favorite show and you get sucked in, like happens to me all the time, and you come back to it, it's actually probably fine. I'm gonna add the eggs to a bowl because I think that's a little bit easier just to have them all in one place so that while you're pouring, you don't have to kind of keep going back and forth. I think it's just faster and cleaner. Mixer goes back on, and then one egg at a time. You're gonna wait for the first one to be incorporated until you add the next. And you'll also begin to see like a slight color change, of course, because of the egg yolks. But then also you'll see that the batter itself will start to loosen up as well, which is exactly what you want. So we're gonna scrape down again. We wanna just make sure again that it's well incorporated, there's no lumps. As it mixes, I'm gonna add my heavy cream, vanilla, adding my salt in. I think it's good. I think we're pretty much there, which is more than I could ask for. I'm going to sift in my flour, and that's just because I want to make sure, you know, we've already spent so much time making sure the texture is silky and smooth and that everything's well incorporated. Sifting is just an extra step that will allow for flour to granulate or just become a little bit finer as you mix it. I'm using all-purpose flour. It's just to add a little bit of body. And again, you'll see that there's flour that's gonna develop on the sides because the mixing process, same thing, you're gonna scrape the sides of the bowl. Right now it's giving melted ice cream, actually. It's like a delicious melted pool of vanilla bean ice cream. And then we're just gonna give it another mix. That looks pretty good, I think. You wanna talk about matcha? Let's talk about matcha. The reason why matcha is so fab is because it contains a ton of antioxidants and it has caffeine, but it's not the same sort of like crazed feeling you get when you have coffee. I feel like it's just kind of like a nice and energetic moment. I'm gonna sift about a 1/4 cup of powdered matcha. You know, when you just have it in tea with water, it's sometimes incredibly medicinal and has that grassy note. And I actually love it in the Basque cheesecake because I think that toasted element that you get from baking it at such a high temperature allows for it to kind of complement that creaminess, and it kind of cuts through all of that dairy that you're using. I'm gonna divide these into 2 glass bowls, mostly because I want you to just see that it's even. and the difference in color as I mix the matcha in. Separating is also really great because as we add those layers into our spring form, you'll see that you'll want to kind of alternate between bowls in order to get that marbled effect that we're gonna use on the cake. And don't waste any bit of this. I mean, you'd literally just spent probably 5 minutes making sure that it was really smooth, so we don't leave anything in the bowl. Add this powder into the top. I'm just gonna mix this by hand because it's satisfying to mix it and see the color change, I think. If you ever try to whisk with your other hand, it's actually like very embarrassing. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Tiny flecks is fine. I kind of like small pockets of matcha in it. I feel like it's like a little surprise sometimes of flavor. Not too big though, just like a little, ooh. So we have well incorporated our matcha powder. This color, it's Gorgina. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to alternate between batter number 1 and batter number 2. Make sure that at least both batters do touch the bottom. And so I'm just gonna pour this right next to it. And so we're just gonna do a little like matcha back and forth volley tag team moment. We have our 2 colors in the spring form. You can see that it's already quite tall, so we'll just flip this up when we're ready. But before I do that, I'm going to further enhance this marbling effect. I'm just going to kind of draw patterns. The colors are kind of like integrating together, but it's not blending, so you're not losing that difference in color. You're actually just creating more of like a texture. Once you do it a little bit, you'll start to see that the color will start to gray, and you don't want it to become too gray. And so when it starts to become a little bit too thin, you know you're ready to stop. The next step is putting it in the oven at 400 degrees. Ooh, you see that's giving like full jiggly caliente. That signature burnt crust on the top, and then also thank goodness for this parchment because you can see that it's risen just above the spring pan. We did a pretty incredible job, if I say so myself. I can still smell the matcha, but it's also giving kind of like the roasted notes that we're also looking for and achieving because of the high temperature of the heat. She's cooled down, still some give, but you know, it's kind of like condensed and compressed. And it's kind of cool because, you know, it's not that perfect shape that you're probably used to with a New York style cheesecake. You're gonna see some variation because of the parchment, but I feel like that adds a layer of depth and texture. We wanna make sure that it cools completely because what happens is the cake will essentially collapse. Now I'm just gonna cut into it. And so you can kind of see, especially around this edge here, that you have, you know, that layer of white on the bottom, and then you can kind of see those striations, kind of like wood grain, honestly. We're gonna finish with a bit of matcha powder, but I just want you to see that you don't have a traditional crust. It's more so the casing from the actual high temperature in the oven and that high heat that allows it to kind of keep its structure. A little dusting of matcha. I'm just gonna take a little slice to further develop my understanding of what's going on here. You know when you like are just proud of yourself for something? When you have like a hard week and then you make a thing and it works and it's like perfect and the flavors are like right. That's how I feel right now, essentially. I love this Basque style cheesecake because not only is it super creamy and rich, but you also have so much of that herbal balance that you get from the matcha in it. And there's also so much hidden texture. I think all of the kind of like cracks and crevices offer like so much support to the actual interior of the cake. It's one of those things that I feel like is perfect for entertaining when you're the person who brings the cake to the party. Instant recipe for friendship and people asking you to come back. It's gonna have another bite because I'm actually very happy about it. It's still good. 1 second.
Sorry. My bad.